as I introduce the candidates. Ronald Cabral, Shawn Cadime, Jason Caminiti, Scott Donnelly, Joshua Fonte, Pam Laliberte-Lebeau, Stephen Long, David Meade, Raymond Mitchell, Leo Pelletier, Cliff Ponte, Dan Rego. Are you in favor of forming a charter review commission? If yes, where would you like to see it focus? If no, why not?
Yes, I am in favor of the Charter Commission because it hasn't been reviewed for a very long time. Yes, I am in favor of it.
I think about time we receive our city charter once again. I want to thank all the volunteers that went out and get all those signatures. There's a lot of good candidates on the ballot, so I wish you go out and review that charter.
Yes, I am, because I am signing a petition and I would like to see more review on our government. It's important. Citizens, they need to know more about it.
I agree that we should have a charter review. I got to commend the guys who work so hard to bring this up, whether we think term limits or whatever's in question. I think it's good for the city, it's good for everybody.
I think it's time that we look at the charter, and I think the focus should be on the ordinances that exist in Fall River. Many are in conflict with state law. I would like to see the Charter Review Commission take some of the power away from the administration and put it where it belongs, in City Council.
I'm absolutely in favor of the charter review. The charter has not been reviewed since the early 1900s. The committee that is elected has 16 months to do their work. It is all governed by the state. First thing that they should do, make it so that they don't have to go through this process again. Perhaps put in that we do this every 5 years.
We in the city of Fall River are considered to be Mayor Strong and City Council weak. For all of you that hold the City Council accountable, we need to understand where you have a Mayor Strong Council weak. It's not the way to go. We all want change, but sometimes when you have an administration who wants to do things their way, the only way to do it is to vote no on the budget. So therefore, we do need a charter review, absolutely.
Would you support a Prop 2.5 override, whether it be for the budget overall or a specific area within the budget, such as education or public safety? Why or why not?
I'm not in favor of Prop 2.5 override. We're not using our fiscal management to the best that we can. Money is not being spent properly. It's not being handled properly. A 2.5 override is simply a way of getting more money out of the people, 37% of us who pay taxes in the city. It's another way of getting a fee out of us.
I don't think that we need to go that route. I think that we have significant issues with wasteful spending in our city. We continue to waste more money than we bring in. The 2.5 only gives the current administration and previous administrations that tried to do so more money to spend. The mayor did, in fact, state that if we needed to go ahead and put a trash fee together, which was for the extra $10, that the city needed to share that sacrifice. I didn't see in an administration share any sacrifice. I think that we need to restructure our government, we need to restructure our budget, and I think that we need to look at every single line item because I think it's very important to make sure that we are spending our money conservatively and respectfully for the voter of the city and the resident that pays taxes each and every single year.
I would not be in support of a 2.5 override in this city right now. People do not trust government, people do not trust politicians, and people feel right now that if they give any more money to this city, they're maybe doing an injustice, you could call it. We need to focus our attention to increasing revenues. We need to make sure that we reorganize government from the top to the bottom, including our school department. We need to make sure that we meet net school spending and the resources are in the classroom. The current money that the city is getting today, we don't know what to do with.
I'm against Proposition 2.5 override. I feel the government is constantly going into the taxpayer's pocket. It has absolutely no fiscal responsibility whatsoever. We don't hold these elected officials accountable. We haven't held them accountable. We don't hold our department heads accountable in the city of Fall River. They're making decisions with our tax dollars and spending them freely. It's time to put that to a stop. The only way you're going to do that is in the voting booth. And you vote in a new city council because the city council has been there already. It's just been let me reach in the taxpayer's pocket, let me come up with another fee, another tax, another fine. It has to come to a stop.
There's absolutely no need for a 2.5 override. 2.5% will generate roughly $1.5 million. If we currently look at the FY16 budget, I have about 8 pages of notes here that we can reduce, and there's over $1 million of reductions. Before we go back to the taxpayers, I think we should be reducing $80,000 in the law office for open positions, $45,000 for the mayor's new assistant, $75,000 that was budgeted for a vacant grant manager that we could have done without, $350,000 that we could have eliminated from an operating budget for future raises while we're continuing to ask the taxpayers to take care of the burden for fiscal irresponsibilities.
I would not support a 2.5% override. One thing that we should strive to do, increase our revenues. We've got a biopot that we should be touting promoting throughout New England to bring in pharmaceutical companies. One of the things I do believe that we should be doing is getting a economic development advisor. We have put money forth for that reason.
It's absolutely ridiculous that we ask for 2.5 override and then it goes to the voters. There's no way they're going to vote 2.5 override here in the city of Fall River. You talk about bringing businesses here to the city of Fall River. I tried to bring a sand barge coming in to unload off one of our shores. Went through Mr. Viola and they got shot down. So there's other ways we can do it, but they don't pay attention.
I also would not support a 2.5 override. If there's $500,000 in salaries on the 6th floor that are working on this year round, I think they can do better than going to the residents each and every year. Some candidates say that they would call for restructuring our government or totally going over the school budget. That's just not in the purview of the council to do those things. We have the opportunity to vote the budget yes or no. We also have the opportunity to vote on the school budget yes or no. There's supposed to be a liaison from the council to the school committee. That would be the way to work with the school committee, to have any input on their budget. Otherwise, the council just gets to say yes or no.
Not one individual on this stage or on yesterday's stage would ever tell you that they were in favor of an override because they want to get elected. There would have to be a lot of work that needs to be done by both the administration and the city council to reach out to each and every one of you to ask you what you think about what we need and how do we fund it.
I would not support a 2.5 override. We have a fractured bureaucracy in our government right now. Everybody's responsible for everything. Therefore, no one's responsible for anything. We need accountability from our employees. We need accountability from our citizens. We need to take ownership and we need to be responsible, making sure that the money is spread the right way for the right thing.
Many of you just broached the idea of increasing revenues in the city. One idea that has been raised to potentially do that would be hiring a tourism director for Fall River. Do you support the hiring of a tourism director? And if not, how would you propose increasing revenues via tourism here in Fall River?
I think we need someone to take a hold of what is going on. As you heard me a few minutes ago, I had a couple of companies that did want to come to Fall River and they got shot down. We need somebody out there that's going to plan and try to get people to come in the city of Fall River. There are plenty of mills up here that they can come in and run any type of business that is legal. If the guy can produce, get grants, bring businesses here in the city of Fall River, that's the way to go.
I strongly believe that that's something we need without having the individuals to do the day-to-day, such as a tourism director, to go out and market our city and re-image our city. We'll never be able to move forward with a cohesive plan in trying to relocate and get people into our city.
If I'm correct, the money has already been assigned for a tourism director. It just hasn't been utilized. Not only would it bring people in from the outside, but it would reintroduce our own residents to the city of Fall River. A tourism director would not only market our historic areas, our waterfront, our downtown.
Continuing to a tourism director, we have to focus on our city waterfront and local artists. Let's build a convention center in the city of Fall River and open a bowling alley to do something in our city. Every year for 2 years when I ran for city council, this question came up, and again this question comes up. We've got to work together and build a good city in the city of Fall River so our young ones won't move out of this city to another city where I was born and raised.
I do support the tourism director. Getting back to what you said, Leo Pelletier, you said that we need jobs here in the city. I was currently working on Market Basket and the Capitol Theater too. I might have something with the Market Basket come to Fall River because I've been talking to the owners and everything else. I'll leave it as that.
I do support the idea of a tourism director. It absolutely cannot be a cronyism job. It needs to be a job that we put out to people that are actually qualified for it. It may have to be from outside of Fall River. I'm not sure that we need to necessarily hire somebody right now. We might want to think about working with 501c3s and private organizations to get this. That might be the step in the right direction.
We are in dire need of a tourism director. I don't think we need to look outside of Fall River to bring a tourism director to this city. When we do create this position, we work with other towns who have a tourism director to make sure that we do it to the best of our abilities. I think it's a step in the right direction in rebranding the image of Fall River.
I don't think now's the time. There was a time when Fall River was the place to be. The arts were alive, the theater district was alive, there were places to go. All that disappeared when the jobs disappeared. We need to bring jobs back to Fall River first. Before you create a $70,000 a year position for tourism, we need to bring in an economic development authority that's going to do something for the city of Fall River. This isn't working. Something has to change.
I totally agree that we do need like economic tourist development to come into our city, but at this moment I don't think we should hire one because we are very in a low economic growth. Worst thing I see is in our city is elected government official forget about our people. Our first most unused asset is our people. As I walk through like Fall River, I meet so many extraordinary people who have the desire to contribute to our city through involvement with committee, neighborhood groups, but they feel that the city is not interested to capitalize on this. I would assure them we are interested. Our second unutilized asset is waterfront. I have seen 2011 waterfront downtown, waterfront calls plan. The plan looks.
I don't support a tourism director's position at the moment. What we need is a hiring freeze. I think that when we look at our budget, we don't have the room right now. If you build it, they will come. If we build a city like the city that we used to have, people will come again. I think it's a wasted position right now at the moment. If we do bring that economic development back to the city, and we make it a happening city, then we can maybe take a look at a tourism director, and maybe then people will start coming back to Fall River.
Pay-as-you-throw and sanitation fee. Keep them, change them, or tell me how you would replace the revenue.
I agree with pay-as-you-throw as an incentive to recycle. I didn't agree with pay-as-you-throw as a way to balance the budget. I know the popular answer right now is to build a transfer station in Fall River. Has the city done a feasibility study? Can they offer me accurate information on the amount of revenue that would be generated and whether it is self-sustaining? We're picking up yard waste on time and a half. Why can't we hire part-time workers? Why can't we establish a program at Diamond Vogue or Bristol Aggie where students are trained in building maintenance and landscaping and used to assist in community maintenance? We need to regain pride. We need to take back our neighborhoods. We need to take back our city.
I'd say we need a clean, safe, and attractive city. It's not a campaign slogan. It's something we can use to build our future. If we sit and just keep banging each other, nothing's going to get done. A clean, safe, attractive city is something that I want to be. I don't think that this city defines us. I think we define the city, and I think we really need to move on that.
When I got on the city council, our total sanitation budget was $1 million. When the landfill closed, we lost $1.7 million in revenue. What we were dumping for nothing now costs us $70 a ton. We were getting $10 a ton for our recyclables. Now we're paying $36 a ton to get rid of our recyclables. We were getting rid of our bulky items for nothing. Now, to get rid of a mattress costs us $14. Also, a lot of people don't realize that the former administration signed a contract with BFI that locks us in for 4 years. They have exclusive rights for dumping in our city. If we do privatize, we have to dump at BFI. It ties the hands of those individuals who probably want to bid on a contract to privatize our trash.
I said it wasn't going to work. Yes, we were in dire straits of money for this city. So we had an administration that said he was not going to implement a pay-as-you-throw program. And then at the end, he did. It was included in the budget. It was an unfair thing to do to a legislative body that represents each and every one of you. And that is precisely the reason why I voted no. There should have been a mandated recycling program that should have been put to the people. I knew that the compliance rate was not going to be there. There was never an ordinance drawn. Federal government states that we need to execute an ordinance in order for it to be enforced. And we're stuck with it for the next 4 years, whether we like it or not. And as far as the fee goes, we need to work to eliminate that fee.
Councilor Rego, then why did you vote on the $10 fee per unit then, if you care so much about the city? Answer that one.
It brings up a good question as to why. Receivership from the federal government and the state would come into this community and devastate it. Whatever it is that they felt that this community needed to pay for services, that's exactly what we were going to get. So you were caught between a rock and a hard place and a gun to the head. I made a tough decision. It's not easy. It's very easy to vote no.
Councilor, you made a tough decision. Yes, you did. But, you know, you're taking the money out of the people's pockets that they can't even afford. $10 per unit. You think that's fair for the taxpayers out there? I mean, it's not. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to my kids. It's not fair to my parents and people that I know that own houses either.
I'm against both of them. The purple bags are okay. They help with the recycling, but we never really gave recycling a fair chance. The problem with the $10 fee is your fee is going to go up. Because instead of bonding for equipment that our firefighters need, we bonded $650,000 for trash bins for yard waste, and that's going to have to go into the enterprise fund because it's an enterprise fund expense. And when that enterprise fund expense goes up, it's going to have a capital expense next year. We're all going to end up paying more because we gave a fledgling fund a cost that it didn't have previously, and that's a problem, and that's another issue with our fiscal management in this city.
The cost of doing business is going to continue to go up. The cost of doing business and hauling our trash out of the city is costing us more and more money. It's unfortunate that it is, and it's unfortunate that the long-standing councilors that were on the council did not come up with a plan, and this is what we're paying for now. And I like the idea of having a transfer station, but the problem with the transfer station is you have outside communities that are already going private. So we're not going to see any tipping fees coming back to the city of Fall River for any revenue whatsoever. So I believe privatization is the only way out of this situation.
Mr. Caminiti actually helped my response, so I get an additional minute. He's absolutely right. All we're doing is adding costs to the sanitation fee, and then we're adding some additional fees. The bonding of the carts absolutely made no sense whatsoever. The director of DPW basically said that everybody that pays $120 deserves the brown cots. Well, I, for one, will give back my brown cots. Let's bond for some fire apparatus and equipment that we actually need. The enterprise fund itself was set up incorrectly. We haven't even discussed privatization. Nobody wants to talk about that under the Flanagan administration. While we discussed it, it was never on the table because there was never an appetite for privatizing or pay-as-you-throw. Had that been on the table, then we would be having a different conversation. The cost for the pay-as-you-throw would have been a lot less, and the fees associated with it, the $10 fees, would have been unnecessary. We are the only community in the Commonwealth that has pay-as-you-throw and still pick up our trash services by ourselves. We need to look at privatization, and we need to do it now.
We need to replace this program with a program that is more reasonable and it does not continue to burden the taxpayers of this city. I'm very interested in discussing a transfer station. I'd also like to entertain discussing a public-private partnership, keeping in mind that these DPW workers work and live in Fall River. We don't want anybody to lose their jobs either over this. I'm telling you that today I will work very, very hard to end this pay-as-you-throw program as well as this $10 fee because we cannot continue to burden the taxpayers of this city.
The city's fire department has faced fluctuating staffing levels since the awarding of the previous record-breaking SAFER grant. What level of staffing do you think is appropriate for the city of Fall River and why?
Well, I don't have the answer or the solution to every or problem of that, but I believe that we do need, like, the SAFER grant is almost running out, and I believe that we should work together and find a solution for it.
Our fire department is sustainable as of now. What I do want to see is us bring on more firefighters.
We need 200 firemen. But we don't only need 200 firemen. We've got to look at the equipment that we're providing these individuals. Right now, I don't think they're adequately equipped to fight many fires that exist in our community.
We do need 200 firemen. How much does the equipment cost? Because I know, because I visit several fire stations, I talk to several firemen. They've been telling me, they says, wow, gee, we hired 10 firemen. Where's our equipment? Our equipment's breaking down. Where are you gonna get the money? Bond again? Is that all you do is bond and take it out of taxpayers' money again?
David, if you want to be elected as a city council, why don't you tell us where you'd get the money from?
Well, first of all, I would go to the legislators and ask them for it, see if we can get it off of them, because the state has the money.
We definitely have to bring our contingency of both firefighters and police up to levels that are respectful and bring them back to the community so they can be active, more proactive than reactive, and be in the community doing fire safety and police safety. There are ways to do it, both from state, federal, and even the Bristol County area, where we can try and get some of the resources to pay for these issues.
If the competent, experienced fire chief in the city of Fall River says that he needs 200 firemen, I would agree to give him 200 firemen. If you take the time to talk to firefighters, you will learn that they do so much more than just fight fires. As far as their equipment goes, it is outdated, and some of it is completely obsolete.
I believe 200 is the magic number, as Chief Averis has stated multiple times, and I'm in favor of the 200 number. Will we get to 200 by next year? Probably not, but if we can add 2, 3 every single year, we can eventually get to that number. I truly believe that if we don't have a safe city, nobody's going to come here, so we need to make our city safe.
200 is a number that's being thrown around. What we need to do is find a number that's the adequate staffing level and set up a budget that we stick to that number. There should be no fluctuation in staffing. Let them start maintaining some of that responsibility themselves. If they can come in on the budget, put that money back into equipment. Bottom line, this is what we're going to spend on fire safety every year. Let's do the best we can with it.
I don't know what the adequate number is for our fire department because I work on computers for a living. I'll take Chief Averis at his word if he says it's 200. I went to the Fire 101 training this year and I used their equipment. When I used it, it failed in 10 minutes. It was a 30-minute tank. Their equipment is 2 generations out of code, and that should scare you. And the way we fix that is with proper planning and proper fiscal management. management. We need to bond once, but plan ahead for what they need and actually move forward with proper planning of buying and maintaining the equipment that we actually have. What's going to happen is you're going to have a fireman die because of faulty equipment.
When I was city administrator, I committed 200 firefighters, not because 200 was a magical number, because the National Fire Protection Agency sets the standards for fire departments. The NFPA also sets and establishes standards for apparatuses. We do not meet any of those standards. We only have 3 apparatuses currently in our fleet that meet the national standards based on the NFPA. And everybody's shaking their head and they're committed to the fire department. Yet I have not seen one bond go down to the council in the last couple of years to fund an apparatus. The amount of money that was funded for the brown bins could have funded an engine.
We just had a big fire in our city in a Flint. Thank God nobody, one of our firefighters, didn't lose their lives. I lost a family member to fire. They went above and beyond for our city, Florida. We give our fire department 100% and fully staffed them to 100%. We're going to think about our city residents and all these residents be safe in our neighborhoods, above and beyond for everybody in the city. I want to be advocate for your voice on your next city council. I've been doing the top 18 the past 2 years. My professors told me that one day I'll be a successful leader. I want to appreciate you, but I can't do it without you. I'm only one voice on the city council. I want to advocate for everybody for tough issues. We're going to stop this pay-as-you-throw. And think about the residents and pay an extra fee that we do every time we do our budget. I want to make better Fall River from neighborhood by neighborhood, street by street, block by block, north, south, east, or west.
Without a doubt, the biggest problem Fall River faces today is our finances. How do we pay for education, public safety, roads, and infrastructure repair? These things cost money. Money that the city doesn't have, money that the taxpayers just can't afford. As a financial analyst for General Dynamics, member of the Fall River School Committee, and chairman of its finance committee, as our city administrator for 4 years, and as the town administrator, I have addressed these issues successfully. My education and a lifetime of financial experience have provided me the skill set needed to do just that. I want to do whatever I can to make Fall River financially strong again.
I have a background in management, which I want to talk a little bit about. I grew up in a seafood business my parents had. That's where my father taught me the values of the customer's always right. I ran the retail portion of his business for several years, and then I moved on to work for a company called Imagine, which is moving to the city. I told them to move to Fall River. If everybody just tells people to move to Fall River, eventually they will, because it's a great city. I was manager of hosting operations, and that's where I learned to really work budgets and work with cash flow. That's the type of thing that I bring to the council, is dealing with large amounts of money, contracts, people. The customer is always right attitude, which is something that I want to bring to the council. The worst thing that ever happened is when we took the person who answers the phone out of government center.
If you're happy with the current state of the city, vote for the incumbent. If you're not happy with the situation, there are 22 candidates to choose from who are looking for a chance to make change. I'm running for office because I'm fed up. I can't take it anymore. Enough is enough. Our elected officials and department heads in this city need to be held accountable and stop placing the burden on the homeowners, small businesses, and the taxpayers. If I'm elected, I pledge not to raise fees or taxes in my first term of office. I feel we need to look to alternatives instead of constantly turning to the taxpayer and reaching in their pocket.
All I see is a city in decline, and it's not the city that I remember growing up. It's going to be tough to restore those days, but I think that if we work together, we can make a difference in Fall River again. I truly believe with all my heart that there is money hidden somewhere in these budgets year after year. It's about taking that money and reinvesting it back into our city. The only thing we keep hearing from previous administrations and this administration is that if we don't pass budgets, we're going to cut your services. That is not how government is supposed to operate.
I don't think the people of Fall River have been represented fairly and to the best of the current council's ability. I think it's fair to ask our current councilors to name one thing they have accomplished for each year they have served us. That's not asking a lot. Over the last 6 years, I have proven that I know how to articulate a well-thought-out vision and make it a reality. Issue, solution. That is how it should be done.
I believe we are currently battling for the soul of our city. Politics aside, we need every available resource to keep our city clean, safe, and attractive. These are the fundamental requirements of government and our citizens. I've volunteered and worked many youth programs, served on the board of directors at the Fall River Boys and Girls Club. I know that I have made a difference in those lives that I have touched. Our city does not define us, but we define our city. I've grown tired of the negative attitudes that come from people who've simply taken up residence in our city. I choose to live a life that matters. Our future and the city's future matters to me.
I have passion for the city. All you do is see crime around here, all over everywhere. People are, afraid to walk outside. The elderly are afraid to walk to the store. Their pocketbooks being robbed, fires all over the place. Who wants to walk outside and see all of that? I don't. My kids don't. My wife don't. I don't think any of you don't.
3 years ago, I met with Hal Meyer from Amoresco. Amoresco is a company that deals with energy-saving initiatives. I asked him what it would cost and what the savings would be to change our street lights to LED lighting. Hal told me that the city would need a bond of $2,959,126, including interest. The annual savings in electricity would be $363,896, plus an additional $55,660 that we currently spend on maintenance contracts. We also received National Grid's rebates of $705,857. Amoresco estimates our savings over 10 years would be $4,828,884. I brought this report back to my colleagues on the City Council. They unanimously supported the bond issue that I proposed. The lights are now being installed, and those streets have better lighting, and we are using half the electricity that we did before.
As you see my truck throughout the city of Fall River, sometimes I'm at the coffee shop. People come in, Leo, you've got a problem next door to me, the grass is overgrown and everything else, I will take care of it. We need a four-way stop sign, no problem, I'll put it in. If you get it all well and good, I'll do it. So that's what I do most of the day. Not one day goes by. I was in church, here comes a woman, says, Leo, can you help me out? Okay, give me the note. And she wanted a crosswalk up the road. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Well, we took care of it.
I want to make a difference in our community. I know I can make a difference in our community. I'm a college graduate and I am a successful business owner in Fall River, proud to have my business in Fall River. I want to be that counselor who has the opportunity to help that person who's currently unemployed get a job. To have the opportunity to work with police and fire departments and the district attorney's office to make our city safer. I want to be sure that our children are educated and the resources are in our classroom. I am going to work hard to end this pay-as-you-throw program and do away with this $10 fee. I'm ready for the challenge. I know it's going to be a challenge, but I'm going to embrace the opportunity to serve the city.
Everybody who knows me says to me, I like you. You stand up for what is right, you make the tough calls, and you say what you mean, and you represent the people to the best of your ability. Ladies and gentlemen, what we need to ask ourselves is, what authority do we have? We are a community that is mayor strong and council weak. You need a city council willing to take the tough votes and hold the administration accountable.
Our wonderful city has come to a critical crossroad. We have grown considerably during these past several years, and we have now reached a point where it is time for us to decide as a community what we want to become and where we want to go and how we want to get there. Never had it been more important to elect people to the Fall River City Council who will represent your voice. I believe I am capable of meeting that challenge, and I look forward to working to achieve that goal. We need elected officials who will lead by example and inspire the community to come together. I plan to do that.
Let's give all the candidates a round of applause. Thanks again to the 13 candidates who joined us tonight.